Old knave. Sioki of the Shire stands before thee, asking out thy friend or foe. If thou art friend, then join me now as we return. Galarian. More. Find the wrath of the righteous. If thou art foe, then disappear back to the Whirlwind, and I, the Knight Commander and Demon, deal with you later. Right, we have freed the citadel, claimed the citadel after freeing Drezen. It's time to start controlling this properly. Let's go inside. A middle-aged paladin with a genial face salutes you. His sparse grey hair stands in fuzzy tufts on his head, giving him a distinctly unwarlike appearance. I have a bright crusade reporting for duty. My name is Shar Cobelan. I am at your service. Queen Galfrey is gathering the main attack forces in Nerosian. She ordered us to replenish the losses suffered in Canabres. Come here, we will support your troops. A tall, dark-eyed lad is standing behind Siar. He passionately echoes Siar's words. We are ready to go to the front immediately. Allow us to be the spearhead of the attack. The old crusader called the young man to order. Morveg, don't speak unless spoken to. Don't worry, no one will be defeating any demons without you. Siar smiles kindly and towels the boy's hair. Who have you brought with you? Ever bright crusaders, mostly. We have a lot of volunteers who joined us. Those who arrived at the Queen's call but didn't want to sit in Nerosian, waiting for the main army to set off. All the hotheads know that the front is here. Siar nods at the boy behind him, on who's eager to fight. We picked up this one too. He walked to Canabres with an old sword in his hand, and a few copper coins in his pocket. He was going to keep walking to kill the demons, and then he would probably have laid siege to the threshold, no doubt. The boy's cheeks go pink at the old man's gentle mockery, but he continues to stare ahead resolutely and boldly. Did you fight in Canabres? How are things there? Not personally, no. The Queen summoned me and the bulk of our order to Nerosian. Almost all those who remained behind in Canabres died, and the ones that didn't were disorganized and leaderless. The order did not perish. New volunteers have been pouring into our ranks. And licking our wounds, Canabres is rebuilding. Life wins out. People are coming from all over Avistan to help. Many are joining up with the Crusaders, just as it happened back in the First Crusade. Great, you'll be serving under my command. Siar's mouth flattens. A hardliner gives you a stern look. See the seasoned warrior hiding behind a grandfatherly disguise. That's out of the question. We know about your powers. That is why we don't trust you. What's more, I'm convinced you are an enemy of the Crusaders. We'll reveal your true nature sooner or later. The Queen ordered us to help you hold the city, and so we will. But she didn't say a word about us personally obeying your orders. They were bright Crusaders who act independently. Why are you deciding for everyone? Maybe the other knights don't share your fears. Dar's eyes narrow in suspicion. Once those seeds of discord in ranks to you, it won't work. My fighters don't just obey me, they trust me. If I tell them to have nothing to do with you, they'll avoid you like the plague. Well, first mumblings of unhappiness in the ranks. Let us restore ourselves here. Where are we? Restoration. Good. Manage the affairs of the crusade. have events. A misunderstanding. A special messenger from Galfrey was delivering a missive to Drezen and ran into a sentry patrol by accident. Alas, the soldiers took the messenger for an enemy and attempted to search him, betraying contrary to the messenger's instructions. The sentries were killed and the messengers arrived in Drezen, now awaiting the commander's judgment. It sounds like the superior officers might have been at fault. The Queen's servants think they have the right to kill crusaders, so they'll blame the officers from the capital for this tragedy, claim that the messenger was given poor instructions, and publicly demand that the Crown compensates the families of the deceased. The act to strengthen the commander's authority. Priests of various faiths are asking the commander to banish the followers of a small sect that believes in the imminent demise of Galarian. These doomsayers scorn the gods with their words, demand that everyone bow down before the inevitable end. Could send them on suicide missions, could silence them, we could permit them to preach, or we could reconcile them. I don't think there's any chance of reconciling them realistically, and I will not have doomsayers in my army. Let them go out and work their final days. Sectarians do not fear death and are always ready for deadly missions. The officers give them the most dangerous tasks, and this both helps crusade and satisfies other priests. After all, dead sectarians offer no arguments. Let's form some councils. Council of Officers. Seasoning the arts of war will help the commander to implement new tactics and diversify the army's ranks. The crusade depends on the support of Nerosian and foreign countries. The diplomatic council will see to it that no political problems interfere with the regular inflow of gold and recruits to Drezen. One can command a small unit alone, but to manage an army, one needs a staff council surrounded by experienced advisors. The commander will be able to make decisions affecting the life and morale of the entire army. And the success of the military faction depends on a regular supply of everything troops need and the judicious distribution of the resources. The Logistics Council, made up of experienced officers, will ensure there's no chaos in the army while the commander's attention is focused on front line. Good. And these we cannot touch just now. They will be formed within 1 day. Let's just see what we have here. Gilles' scheme. The Sword of Battle, the Secrets of Creation. Go to the Heart of Mystery. Find something else that once belonged to Terendlev, which we have. Know the enemy. Any lead could be crucial. It's not possible. Demons left no trace. Find out how the demons are sneaking into Crusader territory. Talk to Anivia. Find the missing Crusaders. Talk to the bounty hunter in the tavern. Solve the riddles of the nameless ruins. 4 statues, yes, but we need to find answers before then. From a dead woman's hands. Talk to Soziel. Wait for events to unfold for the crescent of the abyss. Build the main stables in Drezen. The storyteller seeks pages, yes, when we find him again. Give her a better family sword. Must have council. Prove a relic. Liberate the region. Right, Erebeth. I found your father's sword. Take it. Praise Hermide. Erebeth takes the sword as gently as if it were a living creature, and sheathes in the scabbard. I don't know what to say. I am forever indebted to you. Never thought I'd get my sword back. Please allow me to reward you. Please, no objections. I could never replace this sword. I will never part with it again, I swear. We need to talk about what happened during the attack on Drezen. We shouldn't talk about it. It was a moment of weakness. It brought me to my senses. I swear it will never happen again. The half-orc salutes you sharply. For a moment you once again see the Erebeth, who's ready to protect the defender's heart to her dying breath. Thank you for still trusting me more than anyone else does in this crusade. Even more than I trust myself. Despite your words, Erebeth obviously still feels unworthy of a commander's rank. Changing her mind will require more than platitudes. Perhaps you can bolster her by appointing her to a position where she can work more closely with rank-and-file soldiers, those whose faith in their commander remains undimmed. About the scar on your face. Erebeth's hand reaches up to touch her face, then falls away. Her back straightens and determination flares in her eyes. I lost control of myself and put the entire crusade at risk. You had every right to stop me. Erebeth sighs and looked down. Commander, please don't bring up this subject again. I have been punished enough for my disgraceful weakness. So it turns out that the Queen has a head of council. No, we don't need to know that. How's the Eagle Watch doing in Canabres? Everything is going well. I was wary of handing over the reins at first. I was afraid that everything would fall apart without Anivia and me. But I took a risk and left a very clever lad in charge, a tiefling. As it happens, he infiltrated the cult alone. They couldn't imagine a tiefling wouldn't be on their side. He exposed an entire cell. I personally knighted him just before the city was attacked. Of course, there were many who weren't happy about it. But it's not my job to make people happy. He hasn't disappointed. He has built up the Order's ranks again and is running everything so smoothly. It's as if the demon attack never happened. He's proven more than once that I left Canabres in good hands. But I admit it's still strange to think that such a small order as the Eagle Watch now has two chapters, one in Drezen, one in Canabres. I'll ask this. Why does she have you and Anivia watching me? Think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she wouldn't have put you in charge of this army. My main task is to be your advisor until you've gained enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Anivia and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your inner circle. But you're under no suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. Anivia. Look who it is, hi. Have you figured out how the demons have been sneaking upon us? Anivia answers with scarcely concealed irritation. No dice. Our scouts crawled all over the area, down every hole, nothing. Grey Road was completely empty, and then, bam! The whole army popped up like Jack-in-the-Box. My only lead is a few scouts who didn't come back from the gorges to the southwest. But we found no sign of secret paths or underground passages. And definitely no route we can use to quietly move over a large force through. But I feel it in my gut. There's some evil scum out there. We just have to look harder. Of course, I could send out more scouts. They might just disappear like the first ones. Why don't you go there yourself? Find out what's happening. You find out anything about where Manago is? Nivea shakes her head. Nope. Zero. Zilch. A whole lot of nothing. The scum melted into thin air. Soldiers saw her jump out of the window, run through the square in front of the citadel, suddenly disappear. I suppose she's out of the citadel so the banner doesn't affect her. We haven't heard anything from her since. I don't like it. I'm telling you, this is bad. First of all, her kind don't just give up. If we can't see her, it means she's setting a trap for us. Somewhere we won't expect. I mean, it would be great if the Demon Lords just gobbled her up for all their failures. I think that's too much to hope for. That's not the worst part. We have even more interesting question, you know? I wonder how she teleported from the city. Ah, so it was still within the city. And if by that time you already hung the banner. The soldiers are saying it probably wasn't in full force by then. You and I both know that's Dross. She wasn't supposed to be able to teleport, but she did. Question is how. Let's go. In order that will allow her best to spend more time. Right. Go to the tavern. And find this fool. There he is, Greyball.
How can I help you?
Who are you?
Don't you remember our last meeting? The name is Greybor. I'm an assassin for hire. But I suspect you're not here for small talk. Are you in need of my services?
We met in Canabris, didn't we?
Yes, I had a contract to assassinate a rather overconfident demon named Kylus there. I guess that counts as participation in the siege of Canabris. Not that my employer had any interest in the actual outcome of the battle. Come to think of it, the information my client provided me with was almost suspiciously accurate. They seemed to be aware both of the impending attack on Canabris and of the fact that Kylus was going to be there.
Yes, suspicious indeed. You tried to kill that huge demon at the Battle of Drezen, but you failed. What happened?
Yes, that was a failure. It was supposed to be a clean job. An anonymous client, a worthy target, a substantial fee. But the client insisted that I use an enchanted dagger they provided. I was assured that a single hit would be enough to finish the job, but it didn't work as expected. It was a serious blow to my reputation. And my reputation is everything to me.
I want to hire you for the dragon hunt.
A large adult female? The one that's been snatching people and carrying them off? I've heard about her. That's an impressive target. I can take this job, but only if we do it soon. I'm expecting a new assignment from my regular client, and I'll have to leave as soon as I have the orders. And of course, you should know that this dragon will not come cheaply. 2,500 gold, paid in advance.
Not a problem.
Excellent. Let's get down to business. It's no easy thing to take down a dragon when you don't have wings, so you'll need to follow my lead. The best thing would be to catch her by surprise in her lair, but we need to find it first. Of course, since she doesn't leave tracks, that might be tricky, but I think I have a solution. We need to go west of Drezen, to the Grimwood Forest. The dragon's been seen there often. According to the scouts, this is likely because there's still some wild game left in those parts. We'll set up an ambush there. I hope I can rely on your honesty. I understand that on our way to the dragon, there may be other fights or places we need to visit for various reasons. That's to be expected. However, should I see that you are deliberately delaying the contract, or that you're dragging me off to assault some demon citadel instead of going after the dragon, we will have to revise the terms of our agreement.
Just be ready when we're ready to go for the dragon. Right now, it's not of interest. Next, Sozil. Assuming it will let us out from here. It seems to be Soziel and his dog. Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you? Did you think about what the Hell Knight told you? Yes, Soziel shakes his head. Another dead end, and I still know nothing. How could Trevor have parted with his shield? I can't imagine. You don't know what your brother has endured in the war. Perhaps the person you once knew is gone. I once believed that. I can't. Not Trevor. With a sudden shiver, Soziel looks down and whispers faintly, Brother, will I recognize you when I find you? You know, it's not only the Hell Knights who told me the truth. Knight Terabir refused to tell me anything about my brother's fate while I was serving in Canabres. But after these events, she finally broke her silence. Things she told me. Soziel shakes his head. There is a good fighter, but a terrible knight and an utterly worthless paladin. Became more and more cruel as time went on. He started caring more about destroying the enemy than protecting the innocent. So he should. He gushed over Prelate Huldrun. That's a mistake. And his witch hunts. Eventually, the goddess's patience wore thin when he beat up some poor fellow for blasphemy. Killing took away Trevor's powers. That was a huge blow for him. He left the city, asking only that his disgrace be kept secret from his family. That was why Erebeth didn't say anything earlier. Brother, my brother, but how? He's always been kind and merciful. Where could this new cruelty have come? What do you think of your brother's fate now? I can't wrap my head around what I've learned. As if we're talking about a different person altogether. How could he? What did he give his why did he give his shield to that she-devil in black armor? Or shall I let all this be a mistake? I don't need to hear about you. You're just a lapdog in the army. Back to the citadel. Stables in Drezen need building.
Head on!
See, we have Smithy. Some bonus to attack for all trainable units in adjoining buildings. An archery range, barracks, an arsenal. Bonus to AC. I think I'd rather have attack. Main stables. Needs another 500. We'll have a teleportation circle. Hospital. A Hall of Glory. That will do for now. nothing here. Not right now. Now let us head out. Actually. Light there. And we shall level up everything else. My friend Clouded Sky. Robin. Controlled fireball. Phantasmal killer. Or large person mass. Reach. Good. New medical discovery. Fusion for now. Eagle Splendor. Cleric. And you, my friend. There. We have none of them waiting. Right, 3. them towards the others. Level 5. Can do nothing yet. $600, 357, 17, also. Right. And we recruited Drezen now, of course. Well, if we're going to be tired, we might as well sleep where it's safe. We don't need a merchant, no. We have everyone recruited at this point. And into city we go. Oh. Citadel. Before you stands a tall, fit man whose dark hair is already tinged with grey. He greets you with a brisk military salute. My name is Captain Steelkind. I'm the vanguard of a mercenary group called the Blackstone Company. We come from Andorran to assist you. Tell me about your unit. Blackstone Company is proud to be recognised as one of the finest Andorran mercenary regiments. We're not a bunch of unscrupulous sellswords looking to oppress the innocent and serve tyrants of the world. No. We're adventurers eager to get involved in dangerous enterprise and leave it with the pockets of gold and a clear conscience. Which is why we vote among our units. We were glad to accept Queen Galfrey's invitation to join the crusade. Though some of our commanders did voice their displeasure with the sum she offered. Let me just check something here. I will be back after a quick break. And we're back. Right. Where were we? They didn't like the sum. Like I said, we Andorrans are free people who cannot be pushed around and cannot be bought. Only convinced. Why'd you join up with us? Queen Galfrey paid for our services. Please do not think we're fighting for gold alone. You've already whined about that. Wants to know more about you, Silkind. The man flashed a genuine smile. I don't even know what to say. I'm a soldier, bit of an explorer, and just an all-round honest man. Someone who's honest doesn't usually have to say so. Get on with your duties. Yes, sir. That's be under your command. Captain Sealkind salutes you again, smiles, and adds us in a softer voice. It'll be an honour to serve with you, Commander. If you have any questions, let me know. If you need to talk, I'll be happy to lend an ear. Crucially, Erebeth said that we're under threat from demons with unusual abilities like that Nabasu that attacked your army at the Lost Chapel. Very powerful, and they're growing in number. You haven't found out where they're coming from, have you? Usually looks around shyly and continues, lowering a voice. They're entrusting you with a personal secret. I'm not sure, but I think I have a lead. I know where to find someone who can lead us to the source of their power. What are you talking about? A hag by the name of Jeronica. She used to live here before the fall of Satakoris, but when the demons invaded the world, she happily took their side. The old cannibal knows many secrets. You just have to make her talk. Does she have special powers? I doubt it. But still be careful, she's very old, very sly creature. She's incredibly dangerous. Where can I find her? The place is called Green Gates. I'll show you how to get there. Long ago, before the world wound, there was a Sarkorian fortress there. Then Crusaders built a small chapel. But for many, many years, the place has been home to nothing but abomination and squalor. How did you find out? Ursula quickly looks at the face of those present and seems to curl up in herself. Quietly, almost whispering, she says, "That is a long story. I'll tell you when we get there, alright? Thank you. Happy to help, it's just... You won't go there without me, will you? I want to personally make sure this monster doesn't escape you." Now we have... Grandma Gretlin. Oh, God. Grandma Gretlin lowers herself into a bow. Good day, your commandership. It is we, the artistic board of the next door theatre. Still working on our piece about your heroism. We have even taken on a few new crew members. Check something quickly. We are now a master of stage equipment, and we now have a master of stage equipment and scenery. It's my granddaughter Tina. Tina, say hello to his commandership. We are faced with another dilemma. We simply can't decide on a climactic moment for the act that's all about the Battle of Drezen. Here, you listen to the options. Grandma Gretlin holds up a scroll before her eyes and begins to read, running a gnarled finger across each line. Option 1. The commander, so that's you, launches himself out of a catapult and smashes down the fortress wall, allowing the enemies to rush inside. Option 2. The commander, so that's you again, masquerades as a succubus and creeps into Drezen in disguise, and then opens the gates to the Crusaders. Option 3. The commander, so that's you again, rides to the attack on an enormous mountain goat, or should we call it a battering ram, and breaks down the city gates. What do you say? I like the idea where I launch myself out of catapult. Nice and dramatic. Wonderful, wonderful. It's high time we inject some thrills into our show. Grandma Gretlin and her entourage move away, but their voices project so well you can easily hear the rest of their conversation. The catapult was my favourite idea from the start. I hope it's not considered too lowbrow a device for the serious dramatic offering. Did you forget that the role of the commander is being played by a Cyclops? How are we going to launch Lambkin out of a catapult? Where are we going to find a catapult that won't just break under his weight? Calm yourself, Tina, it's just a minor snag. You can't achieve success without a few difficulties along the way. Think of something you'll see. Wow. Captain Odin, the tall, gaunt half-elf salutes you solemnly, Commander. It's an honour to call this first meeting of the Military Council to order. I am Captain Odin, and I've been serving under your command ever since the assault on the Grey Garrison. I'll do my best to be of as much use to you as possible in this role. Foundation of the military is cold calculation and discipline. These are the principles I will seek to impart to the Crusaders, says Regil. If we are to win this war, we must forget about mercy. For our enemies are, for our troops, and for ourselves. Well, said Sealer, Commander, your sister Sealer is no renowned general, but she spent half her life tussling with evil. Looks like I'll be stepping up on behalf of all of Aramede's faithful here. I hope my advice will prove useful. Master, said Windwag, your army needs to change. The Uplanders have already proven that their methods of warfare are lacking, and their fastidiousness leads to unnecessary losses. I'll teach them how to cast aside their morals and destroy the enemy in the most ruthless means possible. Sounds good, Wendy. The first issue on the Military Council's agenda is reorganization of the troops. Our infantry has been bled dry. The force of Her Majesty granted us were enough to take Drezen, but we need more troops to hold it. Furthermore, the army was assembled in great haste after the assault on Canabres and was never adequately equipped. Unfortunately, we don't have much time for redeployment. Our troops report that a powerful Baelor, Karamzadeh, is already preparing a retaliatory strike on Drezen. He will face problems. But we can rely on freshly conscripted Mendevian soldiers. They may not have the skill, but our strength as always lies in their number, and the fervour of the volunteers joining the crusades. We can't throw everyone into the meat grinder, we'll just get our youths killed for nothing. We need to select the best among the recruits, or even better, hold a contest. The bravest and most capable will join the crusaders. The death count is always high in the infantry. Its purpose is to serve as a shield. It would be wise to invest our resources in hiring and training heavy footmen with shields to ensure maximum protection, even if it limits their mobility and makes them less threatening to the enemy. Why would I want a less threatening army? An ominous smile spreads across Wendwag's face. I've noticed that not all the Uplanders are equal. While some eat and drink all they like, others sit in stone cells with gongs on end, feeding on refuge. You call these criminals. They have no rights, so why don't we force them to join our ranks and get ourselves fresh troops? Captain Odom, what does the Military Council do? The Military Council determines the strategy for our troops, enacts army reforms, approves new equipment standards, and makes decisions on all issues regarding military action front lines. Who is this Karamzadeh? Most trusted servant of the Demon Lord Descari. Among the historians of Mendevian Crusades, he's known as the strategist of the World Wound. He's not as renowned as Minago, the conqueror of Drezen, or Hepzibah, daughter of Baphomet, but he has claimed the most victories over the forces of Mendev. And it's time he faced a loss, isn't it? He's a general and quite possibly one of the best tacticians in the entire Abyss. And it should do our morale good when we beat him. I've been studying his style of warfare for years. He may seem like an ordinary demon, another typical war taskmaster, but that's a fallacy. Like a beast following a scent, he senses weakness in the army's defences and strikes at them, sending soldiers to bring targeted carnage. His uncanny charisma attracts more and more soldiers to him, so he's never short on troops and sacrifices them like pawns whenever he pleases in order to achieve his victories. Karamzadeh is the face of the demon host. For many years I've been gathering research on him, preparing for the day when our armies would clash with his once more. I hope my council will help you defeat him. But so far, Karamzadeh has known no defeats. As you said, so far. A question from my advisors. To answer any questions, Sealer, have you ever commanded an army before? Not on a scale like this, of course, but I fought evil and I know its tricks. Besides, war makes people callous, and it's always useful to have a paladin advisor around to remind you at a crucial moment what we're actually fighting for, right? Regil, why do you wish to sit on the Military Council? I have command experience and intend to impart to the Crusaders at least a modicum of the discipline and rigidity of the Hell Knights. The quality of the Mendevian staff currently available to you leaves much to be desired. Regil glanced at the wincing Captain Odin. That much is certain. Wendwag, you want to command my troops? Wendwag raises her head proudly. Why not? I used to lead our tribe's hunters through the most dangerous caves. We always returned with spoils. I know how to win, how to think ahead, how to be merciless. I'll certainly be a better advisor to you than this Uplander. A casual nod in Captain Odin's direction makes him frown with displeasure. Who are you, Captain Odin? He bows ceremoniously. I've served on the front lines of Mendevian army for over 25 years. In that time, I've gained a wealth of combat experience. His voice sounds calm, but his face darkens at the mention of the wealth of combat experience. I'm considered one of the foremost experts on tactics and strategy in Queen Galfreyd's officers' corps. I've spent my whole life studying the craft of warfare, and I'm familiar with the thoughts of all prominent military leaders of the last 5 centuries. Furthermore, I wholeheartedly believe in the traditions of Mendev's military art, and will gladly share my knowledge with you, Commander. No more questions. While, Wendwag, I see your points about the criminals being used. Convicts are not going to be able to stand up to much of anything or cause much damage. Regil, I have no intention of having a non-threatening army. Odin, the conscripts. No. Simply no. Which leaves Sealer making the decision here. And we will have some champions. A cheeky smile blossoms on Sealer's face. You know, I think I might hit the arena once or twice myself. To test the rookies. Be a nice warm-up. Captain Odin salutes you formally. Thank you for your time, Commander. When the reforms are finished and the ranks of the infantry are replenished, I will assemble a military council to discuss new decisions. Sharp-looking Kitsune gives you a quick, business-like bow. Commander, the matters before us are urgent, so let us not stand on ceremony. I am Lady Konomi, the official attaché from Nerosian. Here are my credentials. She presents a scroll adorned with Galfred's seal. Her Majesty has instructed me to lead your headquarters diplomatic council. Honestly, I was surprised when Lady Konomi asked me to join this council, says Soziel. I'll do my best to fill the shoes of a trained diplomat. I, like many nobles, have been trained in diplomacy, and in fact, I hold the title of Royal Emissary. It's passed down the Erende line. I must say that prior to this day, I employed my diplomatic skills solely to undermine Mendev's international reputation. It's time to break this habit. I imagine preventing international scandals will be just as interesting as causing them. Who knows, I might even enjoy it. It's the diplomatic council, and why do I need it? To solve matters of politics, of course. The crusade is more than just battles and sieges. It is the largest military project in all of Avistan, funded by the treasuries of more than a dozen major powers. And each one of those powers, in addition to seeking victory over the demons, also pursues its own goals. The diplomatic council will manage to tangle the political interests and prevent the crusade from losing the favour of influential benefactors. And while we're at it, ensure that Nerosian remains satisfied with the state of affairs. After all, for the last 100 years, the entirety of Mendevian politics has revolved around the Crusades in some shape or form. That is why the capital has sent me here, to observe, offer suggestions, and keep the diplomatic situation under control. I see you've been sent to keep an eye on me. Whoever gave you that idea, Commander? Your own words. I'm not an overseer, I'm your loyal advisor. I do not intend to meddle in the way you run things, just consult with you in cases where the price of error is too high. Put your trust in me and we'll get along swimmingly. After all, none of us here wants to see Cheliax and Druma at each other's throats, trying to settle their disputes by using their influence on us as political leverage. Am I wrong? And I doubt you would like it if we made enemies in the ranks of Nerosian nobility who would attempt to undermine your war effort. It won't happen as long as you trust my experience. Question. Soziel has never had to deal with diplomatic concerns before. That won't be a problem in my homeland, Tianxia. Inviting clerics and paladin of Shell into the Lady of Chrysanthemums to take part in diplomatic missions is common practice. They may not be politicians, but they are perceptive, advocate peace, and favour balanced solutions. I'm flattered by the respect that the worshippers of my goddess receive in Lady Konami's homeland. Zoziel bows his head courteously. I won't let you down, Sayoki, and I'll make every effort to prevent our friends from becoming our enemies. Why did you want Drezen to take part in the council? Why? Because Count Erende's influence, naturally. He's a Mendevian aristocrat. The nobility will be inclined to listen to his opinion. And by ensuring the support of the nobles, we will find ourselves powerful allies. Drezen sneers back at her. Oh, believe me, Lady Konami, I will exert all my efforts to influence to make this council's job exciting. Yes, that's a concern, Drezen. Tell me about yourself, Lady Konami. Who are you? She lowers her eyes in a show of modesty. It's unbecoming of a diplomat to talk about themselves at length. How am I to refuse you? I come from Tianzia, from the noble Kitsune. Like any Kitsune, I have always been curious to a fault, and my adventures brought me to where we stand. And here in your lands I met my first and true love, politics. I served as a diplomat in the courts of 6 different sovereigns, but working for Her Majesty turned out to be the most interesting of all. Such riveting webs of intrigue and interest are spun around the crusade and the world wound. Everything's clear now. In that case, why don't we discuss your first pressing issue? What's on the agenda today? I hate to say it, Commander, but not everyone in Nordrosian is pleased with your progress. Some believe that, to use their words, you are out of control and fancy yourself as an independent leader. It wouldn't surprise me if you encountered supply disruptions in the near future. I would suggest quelling their anger. Show the capital that you haven't forgotten about the chain of command. For example, you could hold a parade in honour of Her Majesty. We need to demonstrate that we're keeping Rosian in mind. Why don't we invite the capital's high priest to Drezen for a religious festival? It'll be appropriate, and the church's support will shield us from the accusations of schemers. Pander to the naysayers, I think not. I propose we hold a parade in your honour, Sayoki. This is your victory, and if Cousin Godfrey wants to show off in front of the soldiers, she's welcome to capture something of her own. Alright, Soziel invite the High Priest. What will that do for us? Energy points increased by 20% and finance reduced by... I don't want to reduce finance. Commander's Parade. Recruiting mercenaries is reduced. Material points is reduced. Her Majesty. Finance points increased. That's the way we're going. I'm glad that you've listened to my proposal. Making friends in the royal court will go a long way. It's good that we've got off on the right foot, Commander. There'll be plenty more issues requiring your decision soon, but I do not doubt that we will handle them just as expediently. Hail, Commander. Before you, an aged yet fit and sturdy Garundi stands at attention. His dark skin has an earthy tone to it and crystal sparkle from where his hair and eyebrows should be, clearly identifying him as an Oread. Captain Hamatan, chair of your staff council, by order of Her Majesty, King Godfrey, here to deliver a report. I'm on this council too, Sela salutes briskly. We'll be racking our brains on how to improve troop morale. I reckon the key is to back up our words with actions. Lead your soldiers by example. I'll be eager to follow. Drawing on my experience as a paralictor, my advice is to maintain calculated moderation in every regard. Be it incentive or penalty, be decisive. We have no need for doubts or turmoil. I am doomed to be your advisor, but do you know what that means? You are doomed to listen to my advice. To start things off, here's an incredibly novel and deep thought for you. Loyalty, passion and morale. All these can easily be bought with money. Commander, permission to report. We've encountered a problem. Although we're still getting volunteers, we're now seeing cases of desertion and punish them. Many who joined the Drezen campaign believe that their duty has been fulfilled with a victory, and they are not keen on staying in the garrison. Those from Canabres wish to return home and rebuild their ruined city. Lastly, there are those who are afraid of lingering in a place where demons might show up with a retaliatory expedition at any moment. My suggestion is to improve living conditions for the privates, raise their pay, give them extra rations, and reward those who have distinguished themselves on the battlefield with commendations and gifts. Soldiers don't want to leave armies that appreciate them. I feel that for those folks, but we have to convince them to stay. I think we might get some help from the servants of the gods. They'll tell the soldiers that the danger has not yet passed and inspire them to keep fight against evil. As long as the wound is open, the whole world is in danger. We can't just go home and live like we used to, no matter how badly we want that to happen. Most of the Crusaders are volunteers, but they have no right to subvert military discipline. That kind of attitude is tantamount to treason, regardless of who expresses it. We have to identify the instigators, arrest them, and administer harsh punishment to make an example of them. I'm hearing you. The problem is quite simply solved with coin, but handing out money to privates is practically throwing it away. We need to pay the officers handsomely. Then they'll figure out how to raise their subordinates' morale. Down mutiny. Morale increased by 16 to 25. Recruitment trainable by 10. Yes. Regil, find the instigators and make an example of them. Affirmative, I already have my eyes on the most spirited ones. I'll apprehend them immediately. Thank you, Commander. Should any other difficulties arise that require your attention, I'll deliver a new report promptly. Hail, Commander. A middle-aged dwarf who has clearly seen some combat. Salutes you with one barely moving bone-dry hand. On her face are huge, scarred claw marks. A black eye patch covers one eye, but she is watching you with the other, intent and somber. Goggle in the Stranglehold, chair of the Logistics Council at your service. We got ourselves an ugly situation that requires your decision. I hope I won't get in anyone's way if I join you. Usually looks around with visible worry. I think I could give some advice here. Don't mind, of course. I will definitely prove useful on this council. I know more about survival than all the Uplanders combined. I'll teach your soldiers how to procure what they need, even in a place as unforgiving as the World Wound. Most importantly, I can tell you how to use what you have wisely. Everything is always in short supply in the caves, so neithers are experts at conserving resources. I won't lie to you, our logistics are a mess. We need more of everything, and what we do have is in disarray. Crates of provisions are rotting away in storehouses because some idiot quartermaster spilled beer on the papers. The fools are not the worst problem. There's also theft. Some officers grease palms to get a helmet with stylish plumage and a fancy blade in Erosian. Meanwhile, that means that ordinary soldiers are being armed with barely more than kitchen knives. Hammer and tongs. It's time to give the entire logistics staff the bum's rush. The question is, where do we find capable, honest people to replace them? These scoundrels must be replaced with decent, honourable people. Selfless souls who have proven that they put their comrades' lives above all else, especially their own wealth. Surely that's who will take the best care of our soldiers. I've seen the people who are in charge of gear in our mercenary units. Those are razor-sharp fighters. They're gritty, tight-fisted and hard-boiled. Unlike our adults. Convince them to work for us instead. They'll put things in order here. And they might help us come to an understanding with other mercenaries if need be. Sounds good. My suggestion is call some experienced, well-connected supply officers from Nerosian. Let them leave their cushy jobs in Mendev and work up a sweat for the good of the crusade. %10 bonus maximum HP. So I did like yours as well. Plus 2 to all saving throws, no. When do I pick the shrewdest, toughest mercenaries you can find? Good. It'll teach the others to live a hard life. It'll make them stronger. Whenever my hunters had been hungry for a couple of days, they'd hunt their prey with twice as much energy. Then it's decided no matter what our new quartermasters are like, there's no possible way they can be worse than what we have now. The results will be reported to you. If anything else comes up, I'll call the council right away. Right, so we've got those done. Studying the Sword of Valor. Sword of Valor, the great relic from the Crusades. Seriously changed upon coming into contact with the commander. What does this mean? Clerics and wizards could shed some light on the artifact's properties, yes. And an order to Erebeth. Erebeth's breakdown, which occurred before the assault on Drezen, still haunts her mind. She should be reminded that she was, is, and always will be a hero in the eyes of the soldiers by appointing her as commander of a small squad of crusaders. Fortunately, because Erebeth is occupied as a squad leader, and you had seen the crusade command, will have to be transferred to someone else. Yes, we'll do that. We need 100. Material there. Why do I have no more? Ah. Right. Because I used everything up. Can live with that. We have a bunch of things we can sell. Let us go do so. Once we've sold them, we can then use the money, buy some material points, etc. You'll do. Nobody's using that. Or that. Or them. We don't have a tower shield user. This is carapace. Full plate armor. Never an enemy lands a melee hit on the wearer of this +2 mithril. That's fine. These are all things we will dispute. Fine, 11,000 should be enough. Step within again. Back to the table. Let us pick out a couple of things to do. Maps first. Buying, say, 500. Those are being enacted already. We have all we can do. Right, we will rest. And that is where we'll end today. If you wish to help the channel grow, hit the like, comment and subscribe. You've been fine companions. And I look forward to journeying with you again. For now, let us just rest and end. I will bid thee farewell, and I shall see thee next time we return to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous.
No, you're wrong. There are treants in the desert too. Garundis call them tabongas.
You're kidding me. Fine, I lose, which means I drink. Next, I bet that in all of Galarion, a sentient slime has never held any government post.
Farewell.